Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 47 of Stronghold SHX, the road to $3.33 with myself, CryptoBanker SHX. I hope you're well. It is September the 7th. Before we dive in, just an important prerequisite. As always, I am not a financial advisor, and nothing I ever say or do should be taken as financial advice. I also do not endorse SHX at any price point. Now, looking at SHX on the daily, we've seen a 1.82% decrease. We're currently trading just above 1.9 cent, and we've seen a 31.02% decrease on the volume, currently trading at 588. So only $588,000 has been traded of SHX in the last 24 hours, and we see that we're ranked currently down 339 out of all of crypto. Now, what I wanted to do for the next maybe 2 or 3 episodes is really walk step by step through Stronghold Net and the white paper for Stronghold. Now, I know that a few of you will know this and have seen, probably most of you have seen this document, right? And I also covered it extensively within a quick guide earlier in the year. But for me, this is really where all of the value lies in regards to insight, as opposed to really what Stronghold can tell us. We can kind of read this and really read between the lines as to what Stronghold is, what SHX is, and what Stronghold Net will deliver and is delivering. And so if you are new to the channel and you haven't heard of SHX before, or you don't know who I am, or not familiar with myself, then I am the SHX Maxi OG. I was the first ever X dedicated account and first ever YouTube dedicated account to SHX back in the summer of 2023. Now, SHX didn't have a community. It didn't really have a market cap. It was just under $2 million market cap, and it had a trading volume of sometimes around $10,000 a day. Now, from that, since the summer of 2023, I've been building the SHX community and telling as many people as possible about the opportunity that is SHX, which I believe, my own personal opinion, is a glitch in the matrix. And so here we are. So the idea of this is that I will do a show every day, from Monday to Friday, and then one on the weekend, until SHX reaches $3.33. Now, from the time that when I said that, which was when I started my X account back in the summer of 2023, and like I say, SHX wasn't in a great place. It was below a 2 million market cap. I said that it would reach the equivalent of a 50 billion market cap, which equates to $3.33 at some point in the future. And so we're doing a show, as I say, 6 days a week until that point happens, and we're going to share this journey together. So I'm just going to talk through, as I say, the white paper. I will probably do this in maybe 2 or 3 shows, depending on time, because there's a lot to get through. But here, as we begin, we can see that Stronghold powers payments and financial services for developers. Their platform allows embedded payments. I think that's very important, this word, embedded payments and financial services for seamless user experience in high compliance industries. So for those of you that don't know Stronghold and the history behind the business, when you are starting out and you are a chosen project to form the new financial system, when you're looking for new clients, what you want to do is you want to go into niche areas in which you don't have much competition. And you also want to establish yourself within those niches to therefore gain massive traction. That's the best way. If you're ever starting out a business, that's exactly what you should do. Because if you look at Stronghold's mantra and their mission statement, it's inclusive financial services for all. So they don't want any discrimination. And that even comes down to things like alcohol and gambling, potentially cannabis, for example. Those industries traditionally banks won't touch, or if they do, they're very, very cautious. Now, they might potentially work with established businesses and say, for example, you're a leader within that industry, there you might get a little bit of special treatment because you have the volume in which makes it kind of tips the scales in your advantage, because the bank, if you're processing billions of dollars in payments, then it kind of makes sense, right? But like I say, if you're starting out and you're a new business within those niche industries, the chances of you getting a traditional bank account are slim to none. And so Stronghold went after those industries. And I think this was with hindsight and a little bit of intelligence and in intuition, shall we say, or potentially a little bit of a tip, because finance obviously is going to be all inclusive. That's the way in which they bring about this new financial system, especially to anyone that doesn't understand crypto blockchain or understand even how money is created. Like, a lot of people don't even understand that money is purely formed from debt, right? So when you have a situation in which you are changing fundamentally the way in which people interact with money, and you have a lot of the population still holding on to cash and that independence, how do you shift the narrative to go from something to keep them out of it, i.e. blockchain is a scam, it's all scams, it's scam, 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 to then actually having it in which it gives you the benefits and the capabilities and the use cases and all these magical things that you can do with it, and it's fully legit and it's fully safe to interact with it? How do you make that switch in people's heads? How do you convince them that this is the way forward? There's a number of things you can do, but in relation to blockchain technology, they all have the same mission statement, the same mantras, all inclusive. Let's not discriminate against anyone. Let's make sure that, it doesn't discriminate against anyone. So, like I say, they started the business, they conquered those niches in regards to gambling, alcohol, and cannabis. And obviously then when you see the opportunity with cannabis, wherever there's green, there's money, right? So when Trump legalizes it all for the US, who are all these different dispensaries using? Who are even the major players from back in the day using? They're all pretty much using Stronghold. And so again, the difference between this and any other crypto project is the fact that Stronghold is a fully operational, fully fledged business. Like, there isn't any in between. They already are doing amazing things. And so they're setting themselves up, and that's what they've done. They've set themselves up for complete success. Because if you conquer those niche industries, those people are going to stay with you. If you can offer them decentralized finance, because you know that maybe they are say, for example, I'm going to use cannabis, a new dispensary, and they've only just opened, but they're turning over hundreds of thousands of dollars every month, but they can't get traditional credit because they don't have that history in inverted commas. Then from that, you can, if you're processing their payments, you can take a fraction of every single payment that they take through the system, and that could pay off the loan. So you could really see from 3 months of trading or even 2 months of trading that this is going to be a success, and they do have an excess money flow to be able to justify interest payments and be able to capitalize on that. So that really gives the edge on Stronghold, because it's going to give a lot of people, and already does, a lot of businesses who are new, who wouldn't be able to get credit. It gives them credit. It gives them an opportunity to grow and to thrive through decentralized finance, which is exactly the use case in which everyone would want to, especially with, when I'm talking about owning a business. Cash flow is king. Cash is king. So therefore, if you have this service pretty much a couple of months into trading, or maybe 18 months into trading, whatever it is that you wouldn't necessarily have, and you can advance your business and grow it, then that's an incredibly advantageous position to be. But also, you would have maximum loyalty to that business. You wouldn't really want to go elsewhere. And why would you want to go elsewhere when you realize exactly what Stronghold is and SHX is? And so they've built Stronghold on Stellar. They've built it on a climate friendly ledger. Now, if you have been in this space for a number of years, you'll have already recognize that they fit the narrative to whatever suits them. So once BlackRock started acquiring Bitcoin in public, what happened? All those hit pieces about the environment and about global warming and all all that nonsense, suddenly it becomes irrelevant. Where have you seen? I haven't seen anything about Bitcoin being like completely like. I'll be selective in terms of the words that I use. It's not good for the environment, right? And everyone knows that, but we're not seeing it anymore, are we? We're not seeing that narrative, because the thing that you have to understand is that these people aren't just businesses. They're arms of certain operations and organizations, and those organizations have links and incredible influence everywhere to flip and change the narrative as and when it chooses. Now, don't think for 1 second that that narrative about climate change is going away. It's just temporarily disappeared for crypto. But trust me when I say that when something happens with these things, and say, for example, I don't know, Bitcoin suddenly starts to drop in price, then when it comes to a point of potentially saving it, wouldn't they say, well, it's better for the environment that you actually let it die, for example? I don't know. But this here is extremely important, because, like I say, what you want to do is you want to be viewing this like a normal person and really understanding like how they would adapt to blockchain and really buy into it. And it's definitely the narrative of changing or having a positive or a net negative mark on the world of climate. And yeah, it's still a very, very important qualification. I think it's sort of died down slightly, but it will come back up in maybe towards the end of next year into 2027. Here is a prime example of when you know something is chosen. Now, Stronghold, their first client was IBM. Now, you don't really get your first client as IBM, especially being a startup within a payments business, right? Like, IBM aren't going to touch you. I mean, as a traditional startup, would you even have the proper legal documents as such for IBM to then be able to be even qualified to go through their tender process? Like, if they have to go out for tender usually. Okay, so you wouldn't even really get invited towards that process because their procurement department would qualify you out. They'd be like, well, they've not done any business. We can't find anything on this business. Well, they're not established. They've had no clients. They've got no revenue. Why would you want to go with them? Yet here we are. And IBM are a strategic partner, as well as being the first client for Stronghold. So that it's pretty obvious, right? So Stronghold was chosen as the audience favorite in the North America Visa Everywhere competition hosted by TechCrunch. Now, when they did this was back in like 2022, and I think, or maybe 2023. But even still, like, there was over 1,000 applicants for this. Over 1,000 businesses applied for this award, and Stronghold won it. And that is sorry, it's 2022. It says it on there. When that happens, it's incredibly telling. It's incredibly telling. If you understand how these things work and how they really, really work, then you will know that that is massive. And also, you have here Forbes, the FinTech 50 2022. You know what's even more interesting? This white paper is from 2025, right? This hasn't changed, this document, in the main core of it. In about 4 years, 3, 4 years. I remember when they did the updated version and these slides were added. But like, we're not hearing anything from 2023 onwards, right? We're not hearing anything from 2024. We're not hearing anything on 2025. They stopped updating the Stronghold Net numbers in regards to like new customers and how many new clients they were onboarding. They just stopped, which is fine because they're a private business. They don't need to share anything. But it's very telling because they don't want anyone to know exactly how successful they've been. People keep telling me, oh, where have you got the quotation of 2 million merchants from? Well, they had 1 million and they said 1 million was in the pipeline. But I know for a fact that they've got millions of merchants. They're just not sharing that publicly. And it's the same thing. It's like, well, some people are like, have you actually got a source for this? Or it's like, you realize you're investing. You realize that when they confirm everything that I've been saying for the last 2 years, and they've already started to confirm it, right? If you've been following me for 2 years, you'll really realize exactly what I was saying and how many people were like, this guy's crazy, or just ignore him, or he's a clown, he doesn't know what he's talking about, to then actually then becoming fully SHX and updating everyone on exactly what they're doing and getting excited about it. So they were recognized back in 2022 alongside innovators such as Circle, Stripe, Plaid, and OpenSea. And you've got Stronghold there. And the award were for the year's most innovative startups. So really around innovation in personal finance, investing, payments, and crypto. And obviously that the sort of computer hand to normal human hand is that innovation in around sort of the new digital aspect of money versus the old traditional. And so I'm going to leave it there for now. I'm actually going to just cover this quickly in regards to the Stronghold platform that we call Stronghold Net, and then I will continue this presentation in tomorrow's episode. But really, when we're looking at this, and this is one of the most impressive, if not the most impressive qualifications of Stronghold SHX and Stronghold Net, is the fact of their interoperability via the open APIs and industry award-winning APIs and the flexibility, that interoperability and customization. These are the two things, the two most important things for banks was that. Because when you understand banks and how they operate, given the various different jurisdictions that they operate in, each different part of the world usually has a different operating system or various different systems talking to each other or potentially not talking to each other. And so to come about and just give that flexibility, interoperability, and customization at a very easy and accessible way, like that's a game changer for people. But do you know the biggest game changer? If you can say it's built on regulatory technology, which is super compliant, and you have 3 qualifications that no one else does within crypto or within finance that I'm aware of, then it's very, very powerful. Like, you're looking at the new financial system or a main core of it within Stronghold Net. It's the bridge. It brings everything together. And like I say, these slides haven't changed for like the last 3, 4, 5 years. Like let's say 4 years. It's madness. They're keeping a lid on it, and we know that. They're keeping a lid on this for so long until it's ready. And I don't think we're that far away from it being ready. But like I say, this is where it all comes from. Is the work they've done with these APIs, the work they've done with all of their clients building these virtual payment networks that are customized, interoperable, speaking to everyone and guiding them all the way through in an easy and industry award-winning way, in the most cutting-edge technology and most compliant and regulatory way that you can. It's so, so powerful. And they've been doing this and signing people up for 8 years, like building their client base to be like, don't worry about blockchain. Don't worry about crypto. When it's ready and when it's compliant and when it's in law and when it's all there and when everyone starts to use it, don't worry. You'll be at the forefront of interoperability and customization, as you already are. Because guess what? You're a client of Stronghold Net. We've already worked it out for you. In fact, we actually acquired the leader within ISO 20022. And yeah, they're ours now, as are the clients, as are all the governments, as are all the banks, as are all the merchants. It still blows my mind that SHX is below 2 cents. Like, it's insane. But I don't think, like, when you have all of these elements coming together, mathematically, it's an impossibility for it to stay at this price. And that's just my own personal opinion. I'm not very good at maths. That's a lie. I'm very, very good at maths, and I have a fantastic memory. So yeah, it's so close. Like, it's so close. But anyway, I will be back tomorrow for episode. Is it 48 that we're on? So 47 and 48, maybe 49. I'm not too sure. I feel like I've talked for too long. But I will be back tomorrow to continue this as we explore Stronghold Net further. I hope you've enjoyed it. I'll be back tomorrow. Wherever you are in the world, have a fantastic rest of the day. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. I love you all, and I'll see you on the next one.